Chris Salvador, back after many months. I'm back with a review for Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I'll do an update video to tell you what I've been up to over the past couple months, which has been jack shit. I haven't been doing anything. I just got kind of bored with posting up YouTube Anaram videos, but this is going to be an Anaram for Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. First off, this movie's going to make a shit ton of money. I couldn't even get tickets to the midnight screenings. I went to a theater. There was about 4 to 5 midnight screening showings. There was a 12:01, a 12:02, a 12:03, a 12:04, a 12:05. They were all sold out. So I had to go to another theater that was closer to my house, and then that was a huge line all the way up to an Italian restaurant. Let me just tell you, there's a theater, and then there's an Italian restaurant way back, and the line stretched all the way up to there, and I've never experienced that on any kind of movie whatsoever, and I've been to all the big releases, The Dark Knight, all of them, and this was a huge opening weekend. I mean, this thing might surpass $200 to $300 million in 3 to 4 days, tops. So with midnight screenings, plus what's going to happen Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, this thing's going to be making some serious money, because we're talking about $10 a ticket and $13.50 it would have been making with 3D prices. So they really missed the boat here on getting 3D. They should have really had it ready. I'm just going to play with my zit. Oh yeah. So what did I think about Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 1? I think the thing I think is I love the actors that they still use. Everybody's right about that in their reviews, to say that Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint are, I guess, is that their names? Everyone's right to say that it was good that they kept these actors. They barely remind me of what they were when Philosopher's Stone and, or Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets came out. These kids are such different actors now. They're adults, basically. And I really like their acting in it. I think my biggest problem with this movie has been the David Yates effect, is that ever since Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince, the same kind of tone is established, where you got a guy who, he's trying to make it seem so much more epic than what it is, and the magic of Hogwarts has kind of left it, and it's just kind of adults and actors in these sets, and a really good color correction, and it just doesn't feel as magical as Prisoner of Azkaban or Goblet of Fire, or and Chamber and Philosopher, Sorcerers, I'm just going to say Philosopher's Stone, they're not as, those were Chris Columbus, and he had his own style. What did I think about Deathly Hallows? I think the problem with this franchise has always been, to me, in the writing. I think it was simpler before Voldemort, and then after Voldemort things got complicated, because they made it seem like, why can't Voldemort just why can't Voldemort ever attack Harry Potter and know where he is? Yet in Prisoner of Azkaban there was a freaking map that Mischief managed, and you found out where Snape was, where Dumbledore was, where everybody pretty much was in Hogwarts, yet in the world there is no trace thing to find out where Harry Potter is. And there was they talk about that they have the trace on him, but they don't show the process of how they take away the trace, and who's doing that, and where he goes. And there's a scene here where they drink Polyjuice potion, and they go into the Ministry of Magic. Wouldn't the Ministry of Magic, after years of being in active service, have some kind of code or something, some kind of thing where they don't let people in with Polyjuice potion? I mean, that seems too easily accessible. Even when they attack Dolores Umbridge, the Dementors do nothing really to stop this kind of, this kid who's not even really, graduated from Hogwarts, and he was able to attack a headmaster or whatever, someone of the ministry, and with a stupefy spell, and it was boom, and I'm out of here. And I'm like, it just seems like a bunch of bullshit. It just seems like something where I just can't believe that these great wizards who have been around longer than Harry Potter, years. I mean, these people have been aurors, is that what they're called? Wizards, warlocks, whatever, sorcerers. They've been around for years. They know all the tricks. They should know all the counter spells, and how do you wake someone up from a stupefy quickly? And I think that's the thing. It's like the question is, if the Ministry of Magic sat around and goes, how do we find Harry Potter? I'm sure it would only take them a week or so to be able to sniff him out and find out all the locations that he goes to in this movie are, with the exception of where he goes when I don't know what they're called, port keys or whatever. I'm going to call them port keys. When he touches an object and he's transported into another place, much like Goblet of Fire when the Triwizard Tournament, and they had the Goblet of Fire itself transported them to Lord Voldemort's grave. I mean, those things, can't you sniff them out? I mean, in the movie Jumper, when Jumper jumped, they had a kind of wave pattern or whatever, an electrical signal that left the portal open for a little, so they were able to find them. And in this movie, it's like there's no way to track somebody who just went through a port key. And in this movie, when he leaves the Ministry, the guy goes through the port key with him and rips Ron's arm off, which was pretty dark. And where's that guy? He just kind of went back to the Ministry of Magic. He didn't go through with them. So it was like, I guess I just had that nitpick problem of, I would like to see wizards being wizards, understanding, like, I'd like to see more of the technical aspect of, oh, you idiot, don't use that spell, use this spell, or use a stupefy, it's not going to work, we have to use this kind of spell, or why don't we need, or even mixing potions. I mean, the whole point of Hogwarts was, before they could do a spell, they had to go to potions, and they had to learn. I mean, I know there's defense against the dark arts, but they had to mix certain things together, and they had to go, I mean, even to get the Polyjuice potion, they had to go through a big task of, like, it took them months just to get certain things and brews together, and in this movie, all this stuff is just there. So it would have been nice if they had someone from the Order of the Phoenix in this have all that stuff. It just felt like J.K. Rowling wrote the stuff in a very big detail in the books, and in the movie everything's condensed to just stupidness. It's like Dobby shows up in this thing and you haven't seen him for years, and he's there and he's able to just apparate people in and out, and you're going, well, how come someone who's a Death Eater can't apparate and get where they need to go, and why is it, it's just you're just enjoying the movie. You're not really thinking about the big plot elements and things like that. And in this movie, it's basically they got to find, I don't even know how many I was confused because I hadn't seen Half-Blood Prince in over a year, and I didn't know how many Horcruxes they had to find. I barely forgot what they were, so it was good that they kind of explained. I think there was 5 in total, and you have to destroy them in order to kill Lord Voldemort. And then there's the thing about what the Ministry said, where none can live if the other lives, or something like that. So you're sitting there going, there's a lot of rules to killing Lord Voldemort. Can't you just cut this guy's head off with an axe? You know what I mean? I mean, let's just try that. Let's get him, hold him down, cut his head off with an axe. If it reforms years later, whatever, at least we got rid of him. We keep cutting his head off with an axe. We apparate to a lava, and we destroy him in the lava pit. I mean, how hard is lava, apparition, and cutting heads off? You can do it. Zombies, it's easy to kill zombies. You can't kill Lord Voldemort. You got to find a Horcrux in order to do Avada Kedavra on him. It's like, come on. So that's my thoughts on Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 1. I will be coming back with some more YouTube videos. Chris Salvador, so this is my Sequel Buzz review. I liked it. I thought it was okay. And what's interesting is they didn't, in the commercial, they showed scenes where Harry Potter and Lord Voldemort were together, and those scenes are not in Part 1. You will make it known that if you see Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 1, there's not a single scene between Harry Potter and Lord Voldemort at all. And those were some good stuff in the trailer that they just gave away, and I was expecting those scenes, at least a battle between them, and then you don't see it in Part 1. So, I guess, is it worth $10? Not really. It's worth a red box if you can get this for $1 and rent it. I mean, Part 2 is going to be where all the stuff is and the big ending, and this was just kind of like, there's a Horcrux, we got to find how to defeat it, and, they go into the Ministry of Magic for some stuff, and you don't really get the intelligence behind what's written that in depth about elves and all the stuff, and it just seems like they just wrote what they needed to write for movie's sake, and it worked, and that was it. So, I enjoy. I give it maybe a 6 out of 10, and yeah, all right.